Hello there, and today we're going to give you an honest review of Nested Lands, and I'll give you a hint of what this game is all about and what it copies from. Yes, it copies from BellWright, so congratulations, they managed to make a basicer and badder version of BellWright. It's cheaper, it barely works properly, and so on and so forth. What a game to copy off of. BellWright is an example of what not to do when trying to make a survival town building style of a game. The basic concepts of it was basically wrong to begin with. It took them forever to get stuff to actually work relatively properly from what you can do in that game, which is pretty damn limited for how big it is in the first place. Yeah, it's just not the ideal game to actually copy off of. The first thing I notice when you come into these games right here is the third person. You're stuck in third person. That's one bad move right there. That's a bad way to do stuff. And using these nodes, like, just like BellWright does. It uses these nodes right here to collect resources and stuff like that. And that's not the way to go. Like, this isn't the 90s and stuff like that for making their games. We don't need this crap anymore. We actually want real controls in our system. And as for combat in here, well, we can't run and jump and attack. You can't run and attack. You just stuck with your basic 3-hit combo. You got some dodges, but you can't really block or anything like that yet either. So yeah, when this game is all about combat, that's pretty much, that tells it all right there. How cheap and wrong it is right there. So yeah, this doesn't fit the bill for a proper game basically. But yeah, we can check out the map and tell you what this game is all about. You have all these little plague areas all over the place that you got to clean. You need fire arrows to do so and things like that. Well, you'll know if you actually try this game out there, which I don't recommend at the moment, obviously, because none of these functions work as it is early access. But the functions that don't work are pretty sad even for early access. They should have got some of the stuff, the basics, basically working. Besides it not crashing, you can run around. But yeah, all these little areas right here, loot that doesn't respawn. I should really tell you more about the game first before I go into all the bad stuff about it. You have to go to these docks, long trip, and then you go to another island. There's probably going to be other islands in the future, but they're all going to look like this with different resources on them. That's how you would go to advance and collect other resources for your town and be able to upgrade all your villages, things like that. But you can't build another town in that village yet or anything like that, and you can't have resources automatically moved. You can't fast travel from here to your docks or anything that would make this game, relatively playable at the end of the day. But yeah, and also you get attacked by bandits every other day, which you can't do anything about on there, so you have to worry about that. And of course, this game has you have to keep yourself clean in this game, so you get dirty real fast. You have to worry about your food and your water and this, and they drain, super fast too. And your food, it's other people that making these games that really don't understand food and water very well. Silly dwellers and things like that. They don't understand. They have to eat their 3 meals a day, or they can't survive. They think, yeah. I'm sorry, but I actually spent 31 days without eating. So yeah, fuck them, those fucking retards. But anyways, that's just me, and I'm crazy. But anyways, you have the energy, and that's the major concern right there is the energy bar. As long as it's green in this game, you're fine. But as soon as you get halfway down and you're red, you can no longer have your stamina regen at a reasonable rate. You can't recharge it in any way besides sleeping. And then once it gets into the 25% zone, you can no longer run or function and do very much of anything when you're in that little zone right there. So yeah, you're pretty much probably going to fall down dead at 0. That's what I'm guessing will happen. But yeah, this game has its other functions in this game, like your village. You can see this basic stuff. Its structures, they go down to like the 0% in like 6 days. It's ridiculous. You got to repair them so often. You have to wait until they're down to 60% to repair them. They can upgrade eventually, but then you have your villagers you can take care of and see what their jobs they are and see what their thing. They're always going to be dirty. They're always going to be poorly equipped because any gear that you manage to scrounge up is gone in a day. You can see these guys have some boots, right? I got a lot of boots by looting some other places, but most of them have nothing. Even though I had guys the full-time job on guys here making hats and boots and clothing and stuff like that, and all the resources to craft it all, it's gone like in a day, and then all the clothing and stuff that they have is gone also. So that is basically not working. You try to put guys on guard duty, they die in 1 hit. Meanwhile, it takes 3 to 4 hits to actually kill the bandits that are attacking. Not very balanced at all. You having guard stations didn't help at all. So you build some guard stations and stuff like that. That doesn't do fuck all. They still attack every other day, and they'll still kill your guys in 1 shot. So they're pretty much useless. Since the resources don't respawn in this game around around your town, you're not going to be able to collect, wood and stone and maintain your village and know how much wood it needs for all these fires and stuff like that all the time. Way too much of a drain for how much you can actually get. You can't actually grow cotton yet, since you need it so much for all the other things in this game for clothing. You can't actually grow it, and that's another sad thing. You're stuck at limited buildings in this game. You can only build, where's the farming? You can only build 5 animal traps, and the guy doesn't work very well. To get seeds, since your farms don't actually, regenerate your seeds at 100%, maybe 50% if you're lucky. You could build 5 of each of these ones here, and you can build 5 whole whopping 5 birdhouses. Let's not get too carried away. And then you have to trade in berries to get a couple seeds, a couple random seeds, and that's like, a couple random seeds a day to feed all these farms. And the math doesn't work out, obviously, with all these different plots right here, and you imagine you only get 50% back, and you get, maybe 10 seeds back in a day. It doesn't work out. You're going into the negatives. So you can't maintain your village. And that's one of the main things of having villagers in the first place, is they can maintain their shit, and you don't have to go out there and keep farming wood and stone all the time to maintain it, and they don't do that. So they failed in that regard also. It fails on the food, that they all grow. They can't, feed themselves and do that. So all these villagers right now are basically useless. After everything is cleared up nearby, you don't need them anymore. I was actually, if I was gonna play this a little bit longer, I was gonna assign everybody to guard duty on the next raid, except for one guy, and then have them all just get killed, because I'm pretty sure they won't kill anybody, because they don't gear themselves up. They have different weapons in here, but they only pick up the stone knife. That is basically it. They won't pick up the bows, and I have another chest over there, and they won't pick up bows and arrows that are sitting lying around there. There's another sword over here, I think, or 2 lying around. Yeah, there's another sword right there. They won't grab that and use that to defend themselves. You can't, force them to wear gear. You can't see what their inventory is or nothing like that. Nothing like old stuff like, it's a cheaper version of BellWright, like I said. This thing hasn't even, there's no rewards yet in this game. Maybe they'll have some rewards and fix stuff up there in this game, but not yet. The crafting is basic and limited for what you can do for yourself, unless you have those workstations. Yet they're going to have skills in this game, for yourself, so you're going to be a little bit more skillful, and all the stuff is going to be a little bit better, but, the medicine isn't working in this game yet, so lots of these functions don't work, but the basic functions that they have just don't work properly, and it's at the point where having these villagers is a hindrance more than a helpful thing for me, basically. So yeah, that is the major problem with this game right there, besides all the other major problems with the badass combat and stuff like that that's going on there with this game. But it hasn't crashed or anything like that, so it's not going to get like a 1 out of 10, even though I want to give it a 1 out of 10. But it still works, it still functions, it's okay for the story and things like that too. And it is early access, so you got to remember that. But as an overall game, this game is not going to get above 5 out of 10 at the end of the day. Once they're done all this stuff, just the basic functions of this game, the basics, how they did stuff with the nose in the third person, and that kind of thing, and the combat, the way they do the combat, it's just not going to get up there in the ranks for being a decent game at the end of it. It's going to be probably playable, and it'll be okay. So yeah, it'll be like, once it gets to 5 out of 10, I can recommend it, but not right now. It's not there yet. These functions just aren't working yet. Come back in like 6 months and check it out then, and see if this game is okay. But for now, I'm probably going to give it just a 4 out of 10. I'll be that's what my score is going to be. It'll be a 4 out of 10. It's not worthwhile checking out yet. It has potential to be worthwhile to check out in the future and to be something to do because it's new, but it's not going to be a good game or a great game. It's just going to be okay at its best for later on. I could be wrong, but I've played so many of these games, and I know playing like being forced in the third person and nodes and stuff like that is just not the fundamentals of this game is just not going to be there. And you can't build wherever you want to build for your villages. You can build like little tents and like stuff anywhere else that you want, so you can build outside the village on some of the buildings, but it is just not really functional good enough. If you have to be able to change and stop raids altogether, or have your guards actually not die in one freaking hit, and have fast travel and stuff like that. So yeah, without fast travel, the way this game is built, you're not going to want. The only fast travel is traveling from one island to the other. Basically, that is basically it for fast travel. And yeah, this village can't take care of itself, so these guys are all going to die if I played it longer. But luckily for them, this game isn't worth playing any longer. So that is my opinion of this game. Hopefully this gave you a good enough rundown. Oh yeah, one last little note right here. It's always dark. You say, why don't you just play this game in the daytime? I hear that a lot. Well, because this game here doesn't really have a daytime. You have maybe I think the daytime, nighttime starts at maybe 5 o'clock in this game, because these people don't know when the sun sets either, because they're so awesome at all this management of food and water and stuff like that. So yeah, apparently maybe it's for the dope atmosphere, maybe, right? So yeah, the sun probably doesn't come up until like 9-10 o'clock, I think, and then of course it sets at like 5. So you don't have very much playing time to play in the daytime. So this is what you're going to be seeing when you play the game. You're going to have to go out there and keep your energy topped up to actually go out there and do anything. So like right now, my energy is in the yellow. That's not even 50%. I said 50%. It gets in the yellow. So my energy will still regenerate fast. No, that's half the speed as it was regenerating before. So yeah, the energy drain is okay, but your speed at which you regenerate is half the speed once you get into that yellow, which looks to be like 60%, not 50%. So I wasn't paying close enough attention to that on there. But yeah, on all this time, this is just what the game is. This has gone on long enough. You got the idea of the basics of what this game is. You got your town to manage. You can't really do much with it. It's very basic, and the fundamentals are flawed in the first place. It might be an okay in the game in the future, but yeah, come back in 6 months and check it out. But for now, 4 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.